So far, October has been the worst month of the year for me. On paper, I lost more than 2,000 euros just this month, as we had a pretty significant drop in S&P 500 at the end of the month due to instability in the Middle East. In this video, I'll show you my portfolio status in October and also how I deal emotionally with these type of situations when there's this roller coaster constantly. Hello finance people, my name is Robert and I'm here to share my learnings and experiences about personal finance as a European. So let's jump into my portfolio tracker and look at the stocks. And by far the biggest drop was Tesla. It dropped by 20% during October for me. And you can see it's almost 2,500 euros just that month. That's how much I lost. You can see that Tesla stock went from like 260 all the way to 190, below 200 basically. And this all happened within 2 weeks. So it was pretty stressful when I was looking at my portfolio at that time. There's also other losers like Nokia. You can see that Nokia also lost 12 here, but then Microsoft and Amazon, they did quite well compared to the other stocks. In total, I lost 13% of my stock portfolio, and that's more than 2,500 euros. And then if we take a look, ETFs, also a big drop. If we take a look, 3.2% lower than last month, so that's a loss of 700 euros. And you can see that I actually did worse than S&P 500, although my biggest position is the USA, which is basically a tracker for S&P 500. But I think this is something to do with the currency risk we're having when we're purchasing stocks in euros. This month I also invested in VWCE, which is like a world ETF, and just to take a look, that took a hit more than S&P 500. So in long run, I'm not concerned, but definitely this month was, I'm just bleeding. And then we take a look at crypto, and my biggest position is definitely in Bitcoin, and that's up by 29%. You can see from this graph, it just at the end of October when all this instability started, Bitcoin just, rose up like crazy. And this just shows that some people believe that Bitcoin is almost like a hedge against the market fluctuations in this case. So it's pretty much reversed to S&P 500, which I find really interesting. And then I have smaller positions in BNB and also Ripple. But they're so small that I don't count them right now. So if we take a look at my peer-to-peer lending asset, in this case, I'm invested in Mintos. I got about 2,000 euros there. And you can see that from last month, I'm up by about 1%. So this is really consistent, has been for past 3-4 months. That's how long I've been with Mintos. And I'm actually quite happy with the results. I might, in the next few months, I'll probably invest more into this. So far, so good. I'm pretty happy with Mintos. It's not going to be my main focus, but still, just to have different types of assets in my portfolio. So if I look at my portfolio overall, I'm down by 4.4%, and that's about 2,200 euros in a minus. So I'm not happy about this. This hurts. It definitely hurts, and especially because S&P 500 was down by 2.2%, and the difference here is just because that Tesla stock dropped a lot. I don't know, 20% or something like that, 25. I'm not sure, but it really hurt my portfolio. So as you can see, overall was a big loss this month for me, but I already saw that a lot of my assets are rebounding now in the beginning of November. I'm recording this in the beginning of November. So my plan is just to keep at it and invest for the long term. Let's talk about a little bit the emotional side of the investing. I don't really have one way to deal with my emotions during, this kind of roller coaster. I try to stay calm and just not look at the portfolio every day, but I still do. And I do notice that my heartbeat goes up and I get a cold sweats when I see Tesla going from, 260 to 200 this October. So I definitely feel it. I am stressed about it, but I just try to remind myself that I'm doing this for the long run. What the market value says today has nothing to do with what I think it will be in 5 to 10 years. That said, for example, my position in Nokia, I definitely should have exited it a long time ago. I think I just have a sentimental attachment to the only company from my home country. So I don't have any other companies from Finland. This is the only one. So that's something I need to learn to control better, just not to have so much emotional attachments to certain stocks. But just in general, what I read online and just from finance books is that you should always have an exit strategy. So for example, if a stock doubles, then you do this. And also if a stock drops by 10 or 20%, then you buy more of it if you still think that the company fundamentals are solid. That's something I want to learn to implement better in my investing. Right now, I am not as good as I wish I would be. And I really like this concept to have these little tripwires that you decide beforehand. Because if I have to decide what to do in the moment, and let's say a stock is just skyrocketing right now, well, I'll just get greedy and don't exit it in time, sometimes way too late. Now, we live in pretty uncertain times right now, and I got really worried about, well, what happens to my money if my broker goes bankrupt? Well, you know, what then? That's why I created this video right here, where I'll talk about the protections you have if the Giro, Interactive Brokers, or eToro go bankrupt.